She was always invisible. No magic, no voice, no one ever cared. Until he noticed her. A powerful commander invites her out for the first time to eat, to laugh, to live. He even asks her to wear the same kimono she wore the day they first met. But what happens when he finds out the truth? That she has no powers? That her family treated her like a servant her entire life? That she's been carrying the weight of being not enough since the day she was born? And just when it seems like she might finally find happiness, someone starts watching from the shadows. Who is pulling the strings behind her fate? And will he still love her once he knows everything? Stay till the end, because this isn't just a love story. It's a story of pain, healing, and finding your worth in a world that says you're nothing.
Kudo always saw Mio living alone inside the house. During dinner, he expressed his wish to take her out for a walk. At first, Mio refused because she considered herself a burden. But with Kudo's insistence, she finally agreed. Kudo told Mio to get ready in the same kimono she had worn on the very first day. The next morning, as Mio was preparing, Yuri came in and started putting makeup on her. Mio revealed that she had never worn makeup before. She didn't even own any. When Yuri finished, Mio looked absolutely stunning. And when Kudo saw her, his eyes widened in shock, because at that moment, he realized he had developed a crush on her. Later, Mio and Kudo went to the army camp by car. One of Kudo's juniors instantly developed a crush on Mio too, but since she was the fiancée of his superior, he treated her with respect. This made Kudo feel a little jealous. After that, the two went out to stroll through the city streets. Under the beauty of the evening, Mio's eyes wandered in awe. Meanwhile, we see Koji and Mio's father talking. Koji's father said, Mio's mother belonged to the Usuba clan, so naturally Mio must also have supernatural powers. The Usuba bloodline is very powerful. But Mio's father replied that Mio had no such powers inside her. Koji's father insisted, so what, her children can still inherit such powers? To which Mio's father answered, if Kudo finds out that Mio has no powers, he will refuse to marry her. At that time, you should make her your daughter-in-law. From this, we understand that Mio's father never truly loved her. He always considered her nothing but a burden. Meanwhile, Kaya overheard their conversation. Furious, she scolded the maids harshly. But Koji stepped in and told Kaya that it was wrong to speak to the maids in such a way. Then Koji asked Kaya to go out with him. Kaya, sulking, reluctantly agreed. In truth, she could not accept Koji as her husband. Back to Kudo and Mio. Kudo took her to a clothing shop. He already knew the shopkeeper, who then showed a beautiful kimono to Mio. He had actually brought her there to buy new clothes since she always wore old ones. He asked the shopkeeper what color would suit her best. Since Mio looked so cute, the shopkeeper suggested pink. But Kudo's eyes were drawn to a cherry blossom pattern fabric, so he ordered both for her. The shopkeeper, impressed by Mio as well, told Kudo to always stay by her side. Kudo quietly etched those words into his heart. Afterwards, they went to a restaurant. Mio had never tasted such delicious food in her life, nor had she ever been to a restaurant before. Kudo said to her, I've never seen you smile. I want to see the corners of your lips light up with a smile. Mio once again tried to apologize, but Kudo stopped her. Don't belittle yourself with constant apologies. If something is in your heart, you should share it. I want to give you a world where no sadness will ever touch you. Hearing this, Mio felt truly happy. Yet, a fear also crept into her heart. What if Kudo finds out that I have no powers? What then? That evening, after they returned home, Kudo left a box in front of Mio's room. When Yuri saw it, she teased, "Is this a proposal gift? Because gifting a comb usually means a marriage proposal." Kudo quickly replied, "No, it's nothing like that. I just noticed she uses a broken comb, so I got her a new one." After her bath, Mio opened the box and found a brand new comb inside. She ran to Kudo and asked him, "Is this really for me?" Kudo answered, "Yes, it's for you." Mio said, "But it looks so expensive. How can I accept it?" Kudo replied again, "I bought it for you, so you must accept it." Hearing this, Mio burst into tears of joy. For the first time in her life, someone had made her feel truly valued. The next day, Kudo received information that Mio indeed had no powers and that she had endured countless abuses at the hands of her stepmother. In her own family, she was treated like nothing more than a servant. Kudo was deeply shaken by this revelation. He thought to himself, such suffering cannot be hidden behind a tattered kimono. He also learned that Mio's mother was from the Usuba clan. This surprised Kudo. Then why was she married off to a samurai family? Just then, Kudo realized that someone was spying on him through origami shikigami. Using his power, he burned the paper charms. On the other hand, in a dream, Mio's mother appeared before her and apologized because she could never do anything for her. In truth, Mio's mother had a special power that allowed her to see the past, the future, and even people's dreams. She told Mio, "The day I return, your suffering will be replaced with happiness." But what is the mystery behind her words? Is Mio's mother still alive? When Mio woke up, she asked Miss Yuri, "Kudo has given me such a beautiful gift. I also want to give him something in return." Yuri delightedly brought her a book that contained ideas for making handmade items. Yuri said, "If you make something with your own hands, Kudo will treasure it forever." Hearing this, Mio decided to make a hair tie for Kudo. Later, as Kudo was leaving for work, Mio asked him, "Can I go out for a while today? I need to buy something." Kudo asked, "Will you go alone?" Mio replied, "No, Miss Yuri will come with me." Kudo offered, "If you want, I can take you myself." But Mio insisted, "No, I can manage." Kudo then handed her a protective charm and said, "Keep this with you always." This showed just how deeply Kudo had begun to care for Mio. Meanwhile, Koji sat angrily in his room. His elder brother blamed him. "All of this is happening because of you." When Koji protested, his brother used his powers to silence him. Elsewhere, Mio and Miss Yuri went to the market to buy materials for making the hair tie. Mio chose a purple thread. Then Yuri remembered she also needed to buy salt for the house, so she left Mio there for a while. At that moment, Mio's stepsister Kaya saw her and became restless. Koji stood by her side. At the same time, Kudo went to Mio's parents' house. He firmly declared, "I want to marry your daughter and the wedding will happen soon." Everyone was shocked. Kudo continued, "For this marriage, you don't have to give anything. But there is one thing you must do. I know very well how you threw Mio into hell." Meanwhile, Kaya began insulting Mio. "Are you still wearing that old kimono? Kudo will surely abandon you." Koji tried to stop her, but Kaya ignored him. Back at Mio's parents' home, Kudo said again, "You don't need to provide a dowry. Instead, you must apologize to Mio. If you don't, I will break all ties with this family." Later, Kaya discovered that Miss Yuri was actually Mio's maid, while Mio herself was Kudo's future wife. She was left shocked and thought, then Kudo truly is such a good man? After Kudo left, Mio was still drowning in sadness. Just then she met her childhood friend Kana, who was now happily married. Crying, Mio confessed to her, "I have no powers. How can I become Kudo's wife?" Kana comforted her. "Kudo brought you into his home himself. You should talk to him directly." Mio then ran to Kudo and confessed everything. I have no powers. I grew up like a servant in my own home. Perhaps I should have told you all this earlier. If you want to punish me, I will accept it. But before that, I want to thank you for showing me the city, for giving me gifts." Kudu interrupted her. "I will never punish you. I only want to be with you. Don't you want that too?" With tears in her eyes, Mio replied, "I want to be with you for as long as you allow me." Kudu said, "You don't need my permission. I only want you." After that, Mio tied the handmade hairstring onto Kudo's hair. Kudo smiled happily. "This is beautiful." In the final scene, we see that someone is secretly spying on Kudo. It is revealed to be Mio's own father. Furious at how Mio and Kudo's relationship was growing stronger, he began plotting something sinister together with Kaya. And that's how the episode ends. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video. And if you want more episodes like this, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next episode.